All right, everybody. Looks like we are live. Here is the 2019
6 guys participating this afternoon, and we are going to rotate through the first 2 rounds. Our first 3 picks will be the Arizona Cardinals, which will be Vince, the San Francisco 49ers, which is Chris, and the New York Jets, which is Michael Ray, coach. So let's go to Arizona and talk to Vince and see what we've got going here for the first pick in the mock draft. Vince, what are you thinking?
Well, the phone hasn't been ringing, which is a little surprising because we know that the Packers and the Bears both need quarterbacks. And it's a great opportunity here. But since I'm a displaced Viking fan living in Arizona, I'm going to look after the Cardinals. And with the first pick, the Cardinals are going to take Kyler Murray.
Okay.
All right.
That's a surprise. I wouldn't keep seeing that one.
There you go. I'm going to be really interested to see if this actually happens. I have some doubts myself, but what do I know? Okay.
I don't know, being here and being exposed to the local media, a lot of people are of the feeling that they're better off waiting to see what happens throughout the draft, that there may certainly be opportunities for Rosen to be picked up, but that even if Rosen, they can't get the compensation that they want for him, to be able to take both of those guys into training camp, you just never know. And sooner or later, some other team is going to call because they're going to have somebody go down.
Vin, what do you think they would need to see for Rosen? Like, do you think they have to be first round pick?
Say that again, Chris. You're breaking up.
Sorry, I was just saying, do you think they need to see a first round pick back for him? Just to save face?
Is anyone else getting that?
Yeah, it sounds like he's asking if anybody, if Arizona needs a first round pick in order to trade the quarterback they have now if they pick up Kyler Murray as the first round pick.
I think so. Concerning was to start with. I don't
I
know.
think that the Pat Kerwin had a great thing in the mock draft a week ago where he traded down to, I think, 10. He traded down twice to 10 and then still took Kyler Murray there, which I thought was a really valuable strategy, and picked up a bunch of picks along the way. If they trade Josh Rosen, he has an $8 million cap hit if they trade him. If they keep him, it's a $3 million hit. So there is incentive to keep him on the roster. And
Kyler Murray went to the
I agree with Vince. Why not let him battle it out?
Oklahoma quarterback.
Right, especially since the previous regime, although the GM didn't change, but with the previous head coach being the one that was involved in the selection of Rosen, let the new coach see what he's got with 2 young guys.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, then let's move on to the San Francisco 49ers. And Chris, you are on the clock. What are your thoughts for the 49ers?
Well, it seems like the 49ers pick a defensive lineman every year. And I just don't think they can pass the best in this draft. So the 49ers are proud to welcome Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa. Not much of a surprise there, I don't think.
No.
Hey, Tom, I had both of them on my pick a while ago.
Good. Mike performed his own mock draft before we started on the air, so he has all the answers to all of these already. I'm seeing kind of an interesting thing happening. I started about 10 days ago, and I started hearing the name Josh Allen a lot more. And I went back and I started looking at film of the top 3 guys of Williams and Bosa and Allen. And quite frankly, if I'm going to choose one of those guys out of the 3 at this point in time, I'd take Josh Allen. He reminds me of Khalil Mack. He's just all over the place, really strong. And there seems to be a movement in that direction toward him. We'll see what happens on Thursday. But I would be surprised if we end up in a scenario like we had several years ago with Vince Young and Reggie Bush and Mario Williams. where the Texans were battling it out between Young and Bush, and then said, "Oh, screw it, we're going to take Williams." So we'll see what happens as we move on down the line. Okay, next pick is the New York Jets, and Michael, that's going to be your pick. What do you think about the Jets right now?
Well, it won't be Brett Favre. Let's see. I'm thinking they probably need some help on the D line, and I know when Pat's their mock draft, this guy will stay down there a long ways, but I'm gonna give him Ed Oliver out of Houston.
Oh my,
That's Oliver.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna go with. It's not my expertise and not my team, but hopefully that'll help him.
That's okay. That's okay. Any thoughts there, anybody?
Just thought that was awfully early for Ed Oliver.
It's a
Well,
surprise.
if they fell in love with him, hey, it's their guy.
Well, I think one thing we can all count on, that since it's the Jets pick, all of the fans will boo.
Well, that's just a given.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
go ahead and give me the sound
We
effects.
fell short there, didn't we? We should have added that in just out of respect for the Jets fans. So okay, all right. So Ed Oliver
What
goes
can I do?
third overall to the New York Jets, and stout defensive lineman. There's no question about that. Of course, I just went through the whole discourse about Josh Allen, so thanks for listening to that, Michael. And we'll go on to the fourth pick, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that goes to me. Well, at this point, there's only one obvious choice for Tampa Bay, and that's I'm sorry. Did I skipped? I skipped.
Yeah.
We got to go to Oakland Raiders. So
Raiders.
Jay, you're
Yeah.
you're picking for the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah. So
Oh, that's what I did. Okay, I'm right. All right. So pick number 4, Oakland Raiders. Jay, you were on the clock.
I am on the clock. So I have not studied much of what Oakland needs, but going off of the draft trackers
Everything.
from NFL.com, which I agree is pretty much everything, I'm going to go with the top-rated player according to NFL.com's draft prospects, Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle.
Yes. I think that's why I was so anxious to jump the gun, because Tampa Bay would have loved that pick. These big guys.
Hey, that's who I had him taking.
Yep. And he's going to be a good presence there in the middle. They still haven't replaced Khalil Mack, but I don't know that you can ever do that. So there you go. Well, it's at pick number 5. We got Tampa Bay, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are also looking for the stuff on the defensive side. And after just singing his praises, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will take Josh Allen, defensive end out of Kentucky.
Okay, so that brings us to the Giants.
All right, the Giants at pick number 6, which is Robert West. Robert, you've got the New York Giants.
Okay, it looks like it's time for Eli's successor. So the New York Giants will take Dwayne Haskins, quarterback, Ohio State.
Nice. That's where I would have gone too. All right, Haskins.
Good pick, Rob.
Thank you.
I'm just checking them off my list here so we don't have any duplicates. There he is. All right. All right, nicely done. So we're now to
Look at this.
pick
This is
number
super
7, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that would be Vince's pick.
Jacksonville. Where's John when we need him? Just taking a quick look. Jacksonville's got the new quarterback, and one thing that new quarterbacks always love are new people to throw the ball to. And My man, Nick Foles, graduate, University of Arizona.
There you go.
He's always liked throwing to a big tight end.
Bear down.
So how about T.J. Hawkinson out of Iowa?
Nice. That's a good fit there. I think that's a really good fit there. Okay. That brings us to number 8 and the Detroit Lions. So, Chris, you're back up with your Detroit Lions. What are you thinking?
Well, I was kind of there was a couple guys I was hoping that were going to get to me here to 8, and then or one of those quarterbacks says I was already on the phone with Washington, seeing if Haskins was going to be available, but with Haskins off the board, and I think it's too rich for Locke or Daniel Jones at this point in time. With the number 8 pick, the Lions are very proud to bring Montez Sweat to town.
Montez Sweat. We saw him at the Senior Bowl, and he was a man among boys there.
I bet.
However, you were seriously looking at a quarterback for Detroit?
No, I was hoping that Haskins was available because I also control the Washington Redskins. And I felt
you wanted the Redskins to trade up.
That it'd be a perfect opportunity for the Lions to trade back, moving their one and moving back a handful of spots.
Got it. Okay. That makes more sense. All right, at number 9, we have the Buffalo Bills, and that's going to be Chris again.
So this one was a little bit, I was a little unsure. Obviously, not a huge Bills fan. But then the best lineman is looking at the eye, and this is my own personal opinion. Jonah Williams, Alabama. I'm going to bring him in, and if he plays guard, he plays guard. If he plays tackle, he plays tackle. But I feel like
Jonah Williams?
Jonah Williams.
All right.
Crap.
Interesting pick there. I'm not going to be Pat and Jim and tell everyone who's still on the board because that's your responsibility to figure that out. At number 10, the Denver Broncos. And Michael, that's going to be your pick. Michael, you still there?
Let me take a look here. No, he's got himself muted somehow.
Oh. Can you undo that?
I can't. He has to do it himself.
Michael, you've muted yourself. If you would click the mic button. Oh, he says he wants Andre Dillard.
Dillard? All right.
Yep. Good pick. All right. Okay, good. He's texting me this stuff, so. Okay, going on then. The next pick is the 11th pick of the Cincinnati Bengals, and that is Jay, your pick for the Bengals.
My pick for the Bengals, huh? All right. Well, let's see here. They have needs at defensive line, linebacker, O-line, QB. Yeah, they should probably think about that. But I do think it's a little too soon for anybody else right this second.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yep,
Yeah,
we
there
got you. So I'm going to go with the next highest rated player on the board, Jeffrey Simmons, defensive tackle out of Mississippi State.
Okay. You got Cincy Dave calling you right now.
I'm sure.
Calling you out.
I'm sure I do. That's why I have the chat going. Is like so these guys can call us out on these things, you know.
Picking an injured player.
It's all good.
Okay.
It's long term.
Number
You're
12,
going for the long term.
Michael. The Green Bay Packers are on the clock. Are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
with
so-
y'all. The
right.
future Super Champion Green Bay Packers. Let's see what we want to do here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. We got you.
Hey, y'all have me or not?
Yes, we're good.
Okay, making sure. All right, I'm looking at my options here. We need to get Aaron. Yeah, we need to get Aaron some help. And man, as much as I hate to do it, we need help on the line. Hawkinson's already gone, and I just don't think Panther's a fit. And I don't want to repeat the mock draft, but man, Cody Ford's sitting right there. He's sitting right there. You know, I mean, I'm not. I like him a little better than Juwan Taylor from Ford, Oklahoma. So best pick at that position.
All right, Cody Ford is the pick. All right, very good.
Just
You'll copy that.
minutes ago that you were happy with that pick.
I can't believe that this is happening, but okay, we're at number 13. It's the Miami Dolphins. And that is going to be that's Robert's pick for the Miami Dolphins at 13 with Kyler Murray and Dwayne Haskins already off the board.
Yeah, that makes a big dilemma for them. Kind of gonna go left a little bit and get them the big defensive tackle from Clemson, Dexter Lawrence.
Dexter Lawrence, you bastard. I love this guy. In a lot of mocks, he has dropped to the Chargers at 28. In a lot of them, he has gone in the second 10. So nobody knows where it's going to happen or how it's going to work. But I have number 6. So the Atlanta Falcons are up now, and it is Vince's pick for the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, Atlanta is going to shore up their interior defense, and they are going to pick up defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, also from Clemson.
Christian Wilkins.
Who did the Dolphins take?
The Dolphins took Dexter Lawrence. And Christian Wilkins goes to the Atlanta Falcons at 14. At 15, we have Chris on the clock for the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, again, I'm just not. I see the need for a quarterback here, but I'm just not in love with the third and fourth guys that are available. And that being said, Brian Burns is still on the board, and I think he fits in with Washington's defensive scheme perfect. So Brian Burns, Florida State defensive line.
All right. Where's Brian? There he is. All right. So coming up now at 16 is the Carolina Panthers, and that will be Michael's pick.
Oh no, I'm looking now.
All right.
Oh boy. When it ain't your team, it makes it more difficult. You're trying to figure out what they need. Especially when I had them taking one player. Well, they need help on the line, so let's see.
Are you kidding me?
He ain't been picked yet. Okay, let's Carolina Panthers are going to take Greg Little.
Greg Little.
Ooh.
Good job, coach.
Is that sarcastic or did I really do okay?
I'm gonna let you figure that out.
I'm going to go with the former myself, but that's just me. Number 17 is the New York Giants, and that will be Jay's pick.
Oh, it's Cleveland's pick.
From Cleveland.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It should
17.
be.
They traded OBJ for it.
okay.
So, Jay, you've
Should
got
be
the
the
New
Giants.
York Giants at 17. They picked a quarterback with their first pick at number 6, Dwayne Haskins. So, Jay, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I've been talking on mute. You know how that goes.
You sounded wonderful.
Oh, I know.
Some of the most
I got the
eloquent things you've
Giants taking Greedy Williams, cornerback from LSU, for help in their secondary. Hopefully, he can live up to his name.
Okay. Very good. The next up are the Minnesota Vikings. Robert, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it looks like after all the O-line carnage has happened, 4 of the 5 players have already been picked that I had on the list. So the one that's left, the Minnesota Vikings will select Juwan Taylor.
Juwan Taylor. That'll give a little relief to their quarterback for sure.
That's the name of that game.
Hey, Tom,
All right,
who did the Redskins get at 15? I didn't get that.
Brian Burns. So I'm just going to make a commentary here. We're at number 19. The Tennessee Titans are on the board. It's my pick. In every mock that I've had, this player has been in the top 5 or 6 players taken, and he's still on our board. Right. So the Tennessee Titans at this point are going to take linebacker Devin White.
Yep.
Who somehow has slipped through the cracks, and that's why we're doing this for pretend, and the other guys do it for real. So Devin White, linebacker to the Tennessee Titans. Now, this did happen last year. I mean, it happened with Derwin James. He was always in the top 5 or 6 in every mock there was, and in reality dropped to the Chargers at 17. So it certainly could happen.
You could have
I typed it in and it came up.
You could have the flip side and have Aaron Curry, and it all fall apart. So
Yep, no question.
Hey, Tom,
no question.
Tom, you got credit for that when I typed it in and it came up with your name on there.
There you go. I think I'd be a big addition to the Titans at this point. I think I should go play for the Patriots, to be perfectly honest. That'll bring him back to the field. Okay, at number 20, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Allen is in the hospital. So he said he wants the best corner available. Let's do this as a group. I think it's Byron Murphy out of Washington. What does anyone else think?
Yeah. I think that's a good choice for it.
That would be a good choice.
I love this guy. I love this guy. He is a ball hawk. He is all over the damn place. I'll text him that too, that we just did that.
I had him taking Adderley, so that's pretty good. That's a good choice for him.
All right. Good. Okay, the Seahawks at 21. Jay, you must have a thought or two.
Oh, where to start?
Ooh.
How many problems do we have besides quarterback? Now that we have an overpaid quarterback, I won't call him really overpaid, but you know, it's like
million or something.
It's an obscene amount, even for our style of things. However, I think we need to get him some help on the offensive line, but that's been pretty much gutted for the first round, and from what I've seen. We do need help in our secondary. It's a little too soon to take safeties, but I think what we really need is some good interior defensive linemen.
You got one.
We need another one. We could also use an edge rusher as well, or a defensive end. So, with the 21st pick, the Seahawks are going to take Clelin Ferrell, defensive end out of Clemson.
All right, Clelin Ferrell.
Nice pick.
Let me catch up here. All right. And where's he? He is. Oddly enough, he also went in the fan mock draft yesterday. That's exactly who the Seahawks took at that position.
Kind of why I took
All right,
him while he was sitting there.
Yeah, number 22, Baltimore Ravens are on the clock. And Robert, we need a pick for the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, let's see. What do they need?
I showed D-line,
According to
linebacker, offensive line.
Edge, wide receiver, inside linebacker, O-line, DL.
I had him taking a receiver. That's what I had him.
Man, this is. Okay.
And Mama, your call.
Inside linebacker. Baltimore Ravens will take Mac Wilson, Alabama.
Whoa. Damn you again.
Interesting.
Sorry.
That was my second round pick.
Pretty interesting pick.
Oh, wow.
Ozzy's not even there no more either. Ozzy's not even there. You're still getting Alabama players.
I love this guy. His stock has been dropping, and I'm thinking, my thinking was I would have taken him at 28 if everything else is gone. But at the end of the day, his stock is dropping so much, I started thinking I might be able to get him in the second round at 60. So he goes at 22 instead. Good for you, Robert. Damn it. 23, the Houston Texans. Number 6, that would be Vince. You're up for the Houston Texans.
The Houston Texans. The Texans are in need of some offensive linemen, and they could use a running back. It looks like the top-rated running back is still on the board.
Yes, he is.
As is one of and I may be mistaken, has Dillard been drafted?
Yes, Dillard has been taken.
Dillard's done.
Okay, I thought that was the case. So that being the case, Houston is going to get somebody to run the ball instead of block for the runner. They're going to take Josh Jacobs out of Alabama.
All right. 23. Yeah, and I think as it goes, that's pretty much the way it's going to work out there.
Who did he take?
Josh Jacobs, running back. All right, the Oakland Raiders are on the board with their second pick. Ian is not here, so we will go to I'm going to arbitrarily pick a number. Number 2, Chris. I'm sorry, number 1. Oh, no, number 2. Hold on. I can't do that. Let me do number 3. Number 3, Jay, you're going to pick for the Oakland Raiders here.
Okay. Give me just a second.
There is the third-string quarterback out of Temple that looks really good. I would consider him here if I were you.
Oh, that was a good one.
All right, let's see here. Give me just a second. Didn't I pick D-line for them last time?
The Oakland Raiders at number 4.
Yeah, Williams.
Quinn and Williams, yes.
All right. Let's see, who do they got at linebacker here? How about, let's go with Devin Bush.
Devin Bush from Michigan goes at number 28 to the Oakland Raiders. He's another guy that has been popping up a lot earlier than this too. So this is going to be really, this is falling out. This is a really interesting draft right now. And a lot of it because we're not intimately familiar with all our team's needs, but it's gone a much different direction than most of the drafts that we've been seeing. So, and I think it's totally valid too. So I think this is going to be really interesting. All right. Philadelphia Eagles at 25 are on the board. And that would be Chris, your pick for the Eagles.
Well, I think the possible talent too good to pass up here. Definitely not a need. Eagles strongly looked at wide receivers here and seeing that I should have the glitter. I don't have a wide receiver on yet. But Rashard Gary's still there, and I'm wondering why. And so I'm pulling the trigger on could be all world in the gym, could be a flame out, but Rashard Gary out of Michigan.
All right. Yeah, I agree with you. He scares me for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure why, but his production at Michigan should have been a lot more significant than it was.
I think that has to do with the bum who coaches them.
I'm stuck in the same dilemma I was yesterday.
He is a hot and cold guy.
Traits.
Okay, so
that they just picked.
Rashad Gary. Okay, at 26, Indianapolis. That would be Michael. Your pick.
Yeah, I'm kind of at a toss-up between cornerback and wide receiver according to their needs. I had already had Byron Murphy slated for them, but you got him.
I love that guy.
I like N'Keal Harry out of Arizona State. Yeah, but man, I think I'm gonna. It's between two players, and I'm trying to decide which way I want to go with this. There's more corners on the board. I'm gonna go ahead and give them N'Keal Harry, Arizona State wide receiver.
All right.
Get some weapons for Andrew Luck.
I will just say this: the last great receiver that Arizona State had was John Jefferson. That's how long it's been.
Yeah, we know who he is, and yeah, that has been a long time. The other person I was looking at was DeAndre Baker. Just so you know.
Okay, so I'm going to randomly pick Vince for the second Oakland Raider pick at 27. They have previously taken Quinnen Williams. Is that right? Yep. Quinnen Williams and Devin Bush. So now the Oakland Raiders are on the clock again at 27.
Well, let's see. A quick look at their needs. Come on. Edge, tight end, cornerback, running back, and linebacker.
And they just took Devin Bush, so that you may consider that need filled, but that's up to you.
Bear with me, guys. I was.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time. There's no rush. You don't have to rush to judgment. We're doing fine.
The guy you want is sitting there.
Do you want an opinion?
Yeah, go ahead and throw one at me.
I would go tight end with Noah Fant right there.
Yeah, that's a good one. I had him taking DK Metcalf, so yeah, Noah Fant's a good call too.
Yeah, but they've already got Antonio Brown and Terrell Williams that they signed in free agency, so I don't know. Wideout is really high up on the list. But they did lose.
Which tight end?
Noah Fant.
Noah Fant.
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
As much as I hate to say it, and anyone that ever accuses me of not being totally objective, stuff it. All right. So I'm up next at 28 with the Los Angeles Chargers. And I am in the exact same dilemma I was in yesterday when I did the fan draft on air.
They got to stop.
Their needs are defensive line, secondary, linebacker, offensive line. Offensive line, I'm going to stay away from at this point in time and try to hit it in the second. And it leaves me with DeAndre Baker, the cornerback out of Georgia, or Jalen Ferguson, the edge rusher out of Louisiana Tech. And as I said yesterday, this guy's numbers are astounding out of Louisiana Tech. And you might say, well, you have Bosa and Ingram. Why do you need another edge rusher? And I will say, because you can't have too many of them. And he's also a run stuffer. He's also a tackler. He had almost 70 tackles last season. So I am going to go, and I hate drafting cornerbacks in the first round. So I am going to go, and as I said yesterday, repress my desire to redraft Ryan Switzer. And I am going to draft Jalen Ferguson out of Louisiana Tech.
Nice.
Like the world stopped.
Nice pick. Nice pick. Reminds me of Charles Haley when he first started. Yeah,
All right.
nice pick.
Kansas City is next. at 29, and that's going to be Jay's pick.
All right, give me just a second here. Just updating our.
And Michael, you're
tracker.
up next with the Packers. Oh, I should do it that way.
no.
That makes more sense.
Ooh, you got a guy you need to take.
I'm up for suggestions.
Daniel Jones. Okay,
No.
it's a Kansas City pick, okay?
I know. I wasn't going to take yours.
There's a second round punt returner, or second string punt returner at Sisters of the Blind.
You ain't right.
Oh, let's see here. Let's see here. What do we got?
Well, they don't need a quarterback. You know that.
No.
But you do
What's it
need some
say?
secondary help.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I'm debating on do I want to go with
Yeah.
the safety or do I want to go with the cornerback for this one?
I mean, you got two of the top ones on the board.
Yeah. Isn't DeAndre Baker still available? And Jonathan Abraham?
You need an Eric Berry replacement.
Yeah, that's what I was
How about
thinking.
next year MVP, Garrett Bradbury.
You know what? Go with the safety. We'll go with Jonathan Abraham for Kansas City.
Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick. He's okay. I'm reading the thing here now. It says, this is from Gil Brandt. He's okay. Not great in space. Great character and leadership to whichever team ends up with him and will most likely start in year one. He's
Yep.
okay. He's okay.
He's
not great.
He's an in-the-box guy.
Yeah.
I would have thought you wanted a center field guy.
Yeah.
Safety.
I haven't had as much time as I would like to study the draft as much as I would. So I'm trying to be as optimistic as possible when I'm making my picks. But if I get one wrong, I'll take the blame for it.
Yeah. Fresno Frazier yesterday had the pick and he took DeAndre Baker. So it was between the two that you had going. So
Yeah.
right there is Clay. Okay, Michael, you're up with the Green Bay Packers at number 30.
Go Pack, go. Well, y'all, I'm going to toss up again. I really like the kid from Temple, Rocky Sin, but I think it's a little early for him. We need help at tight end, and we got still on the board from they're not the national champions last year, but I think we're going to take Herb Smith Jr. from Alabama.
Wow, a tight
Get
end.
Aaron some help, because we got this guy from Seattle. He really hadn't panned out for us too well. Y'all may have heard of him. So that's
He's
what
No,
smarter.
I think that's a really good pick for Green Bay. I hadn't even considered it, but I think that's
What's
a really
that?
good pick for Green Bay. I think that's a really good pick for Green Bay. I hadn't considered a tight end, but I think that's a great pick because I don't even know who the tight end in Green Bay is. So this will add a little bit of intrigue there for Aaron.
yeah.
Good. All right, number 31, the Los Angeles Rams, and that would be me.
We got Aaron some help on the line, first of all. Now this.
The Rams.
That's the conflict of interest. It's a conflict of interest.
It'd be more of a conflict of interest if I was doing the pick.
All right, the Rams are their biggest needs: O-line, defensive tackle, edge, running back, inside linebacker. They brought in Clay Matthews and Dante Fowler re-signed. Sue is still unsigned on the open market. Whitworth is still playing, but he's 37. I'm going to use for the Rams. The Rams are going to pick center Garrett Bradbury. Because if they need offensive line help, he's the best guy on the board.
Yep, good pick. He's going to take
All right.
Sullivan's place in a minute.
Yeah. And finally, at pick number 32, the New England Patriots, Robert, you're up. And Vince, you are on deck with the Cardinals.
Okay.
Well, I know what I'd do with New England.
All right, we're going to give Tom Brady a toy. And we're going to give him a Josh Gordon replacement. So the
Hey, can you hear me?
Patriots are going to take Marquise Brown.
Yep, that's exactly where I was going with it. I agree fully. I might have looked at DK Metcalf, but Marquise Brown is just as good a pick as far as I can see. Okay, we're going into the second round, gentlemen. Good work, good work. That's this is a really interesting first round draft.
Any thoughts?
I
think way more offensive line than I thought.
Yeah.
Yes. Only 2 wideouts.
Yeah.
So there's
and the
going to
fact
be
that N'Keal Harry was the first wideout off the board is also really interesting.
Yeah. I probably got 3 people in front of him before
Yeah.
I
And like I said, the last great Arizona State receiver was John Jefferson 40 years ago. So,
Hey, Tom,
right.
if we're going to do it next year with other teams, if we knew ahead of time, we'd have a little bit more
well,
time to
the only
prepare
reason I
to
couldn't
be
do
more
that, the only reason I couldn't do that is I didn't know who was
Yeah,
actually going to
yeah.
show up. We had 2 guys not show, so we would have had
Right.
this whole thing laid out
That's
and
true.
people didn't
Yeah,
show. So,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
So let's go look back. Kyler Murray, Nick Bosa, Ed Oliver. Ed Oliver was early, as
Sure.
far as I think in the general consensus. Quinnen Williams, Josh Allen, Haskins to the Giants. Absolutely, they could absolutely do that. They could pick a defensive player and hope he drops to 17. In this draft, it went the other way. We got the quarterback first and the defensive player at Greedy Williams at 17. So they're walking away with 2 holes filled. Josh Allen, Hawkinson to the Jaguars makes perfect sense. Sweat to the Detroit Lions. Jonah Williams to the Bills. Dillard to the Broncos, I think, is also a great pick. This guy at the Senior Bowl, I went and I did no homework going into the game so that I would just see who stood out to me when I was watching. And I was looking particularly at offensive and defensive line and linebacker, because that's pretty much where I thought what the Chargers needed. And Dillard, after the first practice, he was head and shoulders above everyone else in my mind. And nobody was talking about him. I mean, when I went back and started researching, he was 4th or 5th on everyone's list for tackle, et cetera. And I'm thinking, wow, he could drop to the Chargers. This will be great. And then he went to the combine, and then he did his workout, and now he's, if not the top-rated tackle, he's 1 or 2. So that's about a good place for him to go. Jeffrey Simmons is interesting, being picked that early for the Bengals. Coming off the injury, coming off the character issues, he's perfect for the Bengals. But coming off the injury, because he probably won't be able to play most of the next season.
Yeah. Again,
So,
that's my fault for not being prepared.
No, that's okay, because in the fan draft yesterday, Indianapolis took him just in front of the Chargers, and I was so relieved, because the Chargers don't usually draft a character guy, and he'd be a top 5 pick if he was healthy. So you got to really consider that.
Hey, Tom, I had him going to the Seahawks at 20. I had Jeffrey Simmons going at 21 to the Seahawks when I did it.
Yeah, so, and that's just because of the injuries, because he's not going to be available for most of next year, and when he is, he's not going to be full strength. So, but that's an interesting pick at 11, and you can't criticize it, because the guy's talent deserves that pick. So,
let me ask a question at Cincinnati's pick. In the real world, would they have gone ahead and taken Devin White just as their linebacker and be done with it?
I don't see them missing Devin White under any circumstances. I think that's what I was saying. For him to drop down, it's like Derwin James dropping last year. People just there's guy, we just forgot about him. I mean, we just forgot. And I'm looking at my sheets here, and I looked down and I went, wait a minute, Devin White's still available? What's going on here? And that happens. And I think that and I think that's what happened to James last year. People just kind of forgot, and we're looking in other places. And then this, potential gold jacket guy is standing off the side going, excuse me, hello. But yeah, I think Cincinnati would jump all over Devin White if he made it that far. Absolutely. Dexter Lawrence again, damn you. That's he's been picked all over the place, so there's absolutely nothing wrong with that pick in my mind. Christian Williams.
You skipped the number 12 pick.
Cody Ford, you made that pick, I know, and I thought that was fine. That makes perfect sense.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going down a little bit further, Greg Little to the Panthers. They need him. Greedy. Let's talk a little bit about these corners. Greedy Williams, Byron Murphy, and Andre Dillard or Devontae Baker, and Baker has not been chosen yet. So Greedy Williams went first. Byron Murphy went to the Steelers, and Baker is still available. What do you guys think about those three guys? How do they compare?
Greedy Williams is a number 4 corner on my board. I mean, he's name recognition right now, but that first corner to come off the board should have been Byron Murphy.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Anybody else?
Yeah. Yeah, same. I agree.
I think it depends on the scheme you run. If you're a man team, you know, like Coach said, you know, Rocky Sin might be more your guy. You might like the guy from Kentucky.
The Williams kid.
What's his name?
I'll tell you somebody else. I can't think of him, but Trayvon Mullen out of Clemson ain't no sleeper either now, y'all.
Well, for sure.
No, he's a tackle though.
Lonnie Johnson.
Trayvon Mullen.
Oh yeah, Lonnie Johnson. I just saw a film on him the other day. He impressed me.
Yeah, that kid can play.
The cornerback from Clemson, Trayvon Mullen, he's good in press coverage. I like him too. I don't like Clemson, but he's good.
I think it just totally depends on, you know, how you run your defensive scheme and.
True.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of teams that are playing, you know, 6 DBs, right?
I think it's also interesting, and this happened yesterday. The two quarterbacks, Daniel Jones and Drew Lock, did not go in the first round. And
it happened again.
Who thinks that's going to really happen, though? I know I'm not a big fan of it, but I have a hard time believing they're not first round picks.
I agree, but I'll rephrase that. I think they go in the first round, but I don't think they're first round picks.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more.
I would agree with you.
I was entertaining them for the Broncos. I really was thinking about it. And then I thought about it realistically. He's from, you know, Lee Summit, which is 10 minutes from the Kansas City Chiefs Stadium. I was like, man, I can't do that to that guy.
All right, you guys ready to move on?
Yep. And just so you know, if you go back and watch the stream later, you'll see that I've actually added a second bar because it was kicking off the last third of the second round from my scroll text. So just be aware of that. I added the second round as its own scrolling tracker at the bottom.
All right, so the first 3 picks in the second round are the Cardinals, the Colts, and the Raiders. And according to our board, Vince, you have the Cardinals. Who did the Colts?
I do. I got them.
Yeah, Michael did the Colts, and the first Raider pick went to Jay. So it's Vince, Michael, and Jay for the first 3 picks. And Vince, the Arizona Cardinals are on the clock at 33.
Let's look at wide receiver now. Unless I'm mistaken, I'm still seeing DK Metcalf available. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes.
Now,
as is Paris Campbell.
Yeah, doing a little group think here. You know what? There's pros and cons to both Campbell and Metcalf. Metcalf is young; he's only a sophomore. You know, he's fast, but there's not a lot of experience there. On the other hand, you know, a lot of upside potential. You go down to Campbell. Campbell played Ohio State, Sirius School. You know, seen a lot of big time competition. You know, I've been looking at these guys for, you know, the last 15 picks, trying to think this through. Do you guys have any thoughts on between? It's going to be one of those two guys. What's some groupthink here?
Myself, I prefer AJ Brown to both of them. I have AJ Brown as my wide receiver 1. So, I it's rare that
Hey, Matt, their uncle played Brown for him.
I don't know.
Hey,
As
Vince,
a Viking,
Metcalf's
Mississippi receivers scare me.
back in the day. You heard me?
Gil Brandt's evaluation of AJ Brown. He lined up mostly as a slot. He ran a 4.49 at 226 pounds, which is heavy. They said he needs to lose a little weight because it makes it hard for him to pick off the low throws. But Gil says he's a much better than former Mississippi product Laquan Treadwell, who was drafted in the first round in 2016.
That means he doesn't have hands of stone.
That hurts.
And Paris Campbell seems to have the most experience coming out as a senior at Ohio State.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf ran a 4.33. So he's a speed burner, but lacks concentration sometimes on the catches.
Yeah. And I've been reading to those same things from Gil's page as well.
Played for the Cardinals.
I think that we're gonna jump right down and we're gonna take what I think is more of the sure thing with Paris Campbell from Ohio State.
Okay.
All right, so Kyler Murray now has a guy to throw to next to Larry Fitzgerald. And it's also a good replacement down the line if he turns out to be, who he thinks he is. All right, Indianapolis, Michael, you're up.
Well, I wanted to go for the Colts. They're still available. We're going to take DeAndre Baker. Did y'all get it?
Yep, got it.
Can you hear me?
DeAndre Baker for the Indianapolis Colts.
Sure, I didn't know if I lost y'all or not. What do you think about that pick?
That's a good pick too, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's a great pick. All right, and Jay, you're up at pick 35 with the Oakland Raiders.
And for the Raiders, if I remember correctly, one of their top ones is a running back, one of their needs. And let's see, who's left available there?
Hey, can I help you out on that one?
Sure.
Adderley's still available, and he's what do you think about him?
Who is that?
I think he means Nasir Adderley from Delaware.
Did you hear me, Jay?
Yeah, I got you. Nasir Adderley.
I was telling you Nasir Adderley would be. Good choice, but
what's Gil got on him? Let's see here. Adderley, who's related to Hall of Fame. Adderley, receptions. 4.65. Yeah, why not? Mr. Adderley. He's in the top.
Adderley.
Yeah, he's in the top 50 for Gil's. He's on the low end of it, but
yeah, but he's a good safety, I think.
Yeah, he's one. Yeah, he's top one, but it's your pick.
All right, the 49ers. 49ers were Chris.
Yep. Well, we're hoping that we've got our.
Is that who we took then? Did you take?
Ooh.
So the 49ers are up at pick 36, AJ Brown, Ole Miss.
Great.
Excellent. Great pick. Just what I would have done as well. All right. The New York Giants are next, and the Giants are Robert.
Yeah, let me look down through this board. the pick that I wanted just got taken.
Always happens.
Okay.
Hey Tom, who were the last two of my six?
They were Nasir Adderley and
Raiders
A.J.
took
Brown.
Adderley, right?
So the Giants took Dwayne Haskin, as you know, and then they took at 17, they took Greedy Williams. So they've got a quarterback and a corner already off the board for the New York Giants.
Okay. They need a wide out. Man. All right. Because I'm afraid of the kid from Ole Miss. He just can't get in and out of his breaks. He's a straight line guy. So,
yep.
I'm still going to take a wide out. So I'm going to take Kelvin Harmon, wide receiver, NC State.
Oh.
Whoa, nice. I didn't see that one coming.
There he is. Okay. Michael, 36 was A.J. Brown. Jacksonville at number 38, and that is my pick.
What's that?
Receiver, running back.
I'm not picking for Jacksonville.
Oh, did you pick before?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then pick for Jacksonville.
That's good because I prepped and now I'm thinking, oh no, who am I going to have?
I confused myself here, so I'm fixing it. But go ahead.
This time, Jacksonville, having taken a tight end in the first round, now they're going to get some blocking for Mr. Foles. And I've got Connor McGovern.
Good pick. I was just looking at this saying, oh, we're forgetting the offensive lineman here.
Offensive lineman from Penn State.
Hey, who did the Jaguars take? The stupid thing, man. On me.
They took Connor McGovern, offensive lineman out of Penn State.
Did you?
That was Jacksonville.
Who did you take when you picked for Jaguars? So.
At number 38,
that was who he did.
The Jaguars just picked Connor McGovern.
All right, I got you.
All right. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That went to me. So, Tampa Bay.
Is that a trade?
Must be entertaining a trade.
Hello.
That's too funny.
Linebacker, corner, safety, running back, defensive line. Well, you know, I'm not a big fan of this guy, but it's probably a good place to pick him. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 39 will take Rock Ya-Sin.
Oh man, I would have took him in the third. Crap. Yep, Rock Ya-Sin.
Okay, so the Buffalo Bills are on the clock, and Buffalo is Vince.
No.
Oh, Chris. I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah, Buffalo. So I'm happy this guy's still available. Quarterback, Avon Mullen, Clemson.
Yeah, I talked him up a while ago. Mullen, Clemson. 41. Who's up next?
Hang on. Oh, there it is. I'm having trouble. And that went to the Bills. All right, Denver Broncos are up next.
Yeah, I'm putting them on there.
And the Denver, that's you, Michael. Followed by the Bengals. Who is Jay?
You know, I
He's breaking
Are
up
the
pretty
Bengals?
bad there.
Are the Broncos looking for a quarterback?
Missouri quarterback.
Michael, did you make a pick?
Get that?
To Drew Lock?
Drew Lock, is that what I heard?
Drew Lock?
Tom, can you hear me? Yeah, I just told you.
Who? Drew Lock? All right.
That'd be a good pick if they could get him around later.
He won't be around later. That's it. He'll be gone. He won't get
No, like
Yeah.
I need to have him in the second instead of taking him in the
I
first.
hated to do it, point, but I don't want him to keep setting.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I know. I got you.
Cincinnati.
But they often on the line. He came back for them though. All right, we're ready. 42.
All right, so Cincinnati Bengals are up next.
And they took,
What did I say that was?
yeah, that's me.
Jay. Okay.
I was just going back and looking at who they took or who I had them take.
Oh, Cincinnati took Jeffrey Simmons at 11.
Okay.
They might want to get a player that can play this year.
Yeah, maybe just a little.
Just saying, just the way I think about it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, you know, they need to project for the future. You know, that's what better way than to save the guy because he's injured, right?
There is. Maybe there's a real project now that you could find that will be ready in 3 years.
Let's see here. They need some help in the linebacker position. Let's see here. Trying to just go over Gil's list really quick, compare it. Let's see here.
Hey, maybe they could trade for Perfect.
76, that's a bit much of a leap there. All right, so let's see. What else did they need? They need offensive line help. And they need a
I
QB.
didn't miss anything.
No, you haven't missed anything
At least
yet.
he's still picking.
I'm still picking.
Okay. All right, good.
All right. Let's see. What are you guys' thoughts on Daniel Jones, quarterback to be a backup?
That's a good pick.
That's what I would have done.
I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, let's go with Daniel Jones.
Since Dave's on the line.
I'm sure he is.
What are you doing? What'd you do that for? What were you thinking?
I want to trade away Andy Dalton, so this is a good deal.
Yeah.
Okay, next up
I
is
think the mock
Detroit.
yesterday had Haskins going to him, I believe, in the mock yesterday.
He'll never
so
last
Chris.
that long.
Chris, you're up.
You got it. So in the first round, I got my defensive stud, and just with the way the game is trending, a new offensive coordinator, really excited. I didn't want to mention his name earlier because I didn't want any of you snakes taking him. Debo Samuel as my Golden Tate replacement.
Yep, good pick.
People,
Yep.
your lines, man, are. Big.
All right, so it's Green Bay up.
That's what I thought. Alrighty. Boy, them GMs have a real pressure job, don't they? Let me see what we want to do. I've been doing some thinking on this one too. Y'all give me a second, kind of like Jay Brown did.
Yeah. No, we're not on any
I
real
got a
clock.
tight end, I got a lineman. Yeah, I know, but
Ooh. Coach, you got a guy looking at you straight in the face on the board.
I'm thinking someone as well. So I'll be interested, Robert,
I
after
hear you, I'm looking.
pick to compare.
Give me a second.
All right.
What?
And it's a straight up position of need.
Well, that's
Can y'all
pretty much
still hear me
everything
okay?
except quarterback.
Quarterback as well. 35-year-old broke
I
down car.
like. I tell you. Hey, I tell you. You know,
We lose him?
You still there, Mike?
Ooh, I don't see him.
Text,
Yeah, I don't
text-
see him anymore.
text me the pick.
Well, he's not on the line right now. So, Robert, who are you thinking?
All right, he texted Tillers.
Crap. Now that's who I wanted
Tillery,
for
you
Miami's
think?
pick.
Jeremy Tillery, you think?
Tillery,
I
yeah,
was-
Tillery.
Yeah. It's a good pick.
He's another one of these guys that's hot and cold.
That is correct.
Is that who you thought, Robert? 'Cause that's not who I was thinking.
No, that's not who I was thinking, but it's a good pick.
I was thinking another blonde-haired Chase Winovich in there.
No, I wasn't thinking that guy.
All right, good. So the Atlanta Falcons are now on the board, and that's is that Vince?
Isn't
Yeah.
it the Dolphins?
hey,
Yeah, we got you, Mike. We
hey,
got your
Tom, I
pick.
messaged you the pick because I lost my signal.
Yeah, I got it. We're good. Jerry Tillery.
Okay,
No, the next pick is the Atlanta Falcons.
exactly.
Okay, they swap positions in the second round. I didn't
Yeah.
see that. Okay. Tom, you mentioned this when you were recapping the first round, and I haven't heard his name yet unless I missed it. Isn't DeAndre Baker still available?
No, he has been taken.
He's gone.
Okay. Where did he go? I missed that.
DeAndre Baker went to
No,
the
I picked him
Indianapolis
earlier.
Colts at 34.
Okay. Then how about Byron Murphy?
Yeah.
Gone.
He is.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
he
went
went.
earlier,
He
too.
went in top 10.
He went to
Well,
Pittsburgh.
here I was sleeping.
Yeah.
But keep trying. Maybe
Well,
someone
let
will
me
be willing to
roll.
give him up.
No, you got that. You picked up that fella. Well,
Right.
these guys need a corner, but that just kind of fell out. Let me come back and look at their needs again. Hey, they need a kicker. Second round's a great place for that.
Yeah, that's the way that most GMs keep their job.
Let's go back up and
Who's he picking for again?
Atlanta.
so he's gone. Devin White's long gone, right?
Oh yeah, both those linebackers are gone. If you're on Gil's list, everything except for 16, which is DK Metcalf, is gone up until number 34.
Yeah. All right.
Who's
Well, my
he
bad
picking
note
for? I
taking,
didn't hear
guys.
that
Sorry.
part.
Atlanta.
Again, this is where I
There's
like.
a couple of safeties there.
There's a couple of safeties. There's a couple of corners right now.
Taylor Rapp still available.
And you got a couple offensive linemen too.
Yeah. Let's see.
The Falcons.
Let's pick up an offensive lineman here. These guys are good. Let's Caleb McGarry still available, right?
Yes.
Let's put him on the line in front of Ryan. Offensive
fine.
tackle.
He wouldn't have looked good in
From
or in
Washington.
LA anyway, so that's fine. Take him. I don't care.
Yep.
Better put him in front of Ron than behind him. It's better put him in front of him than behind him in the backfield.
Okay, Washington is Chris.
I just think
And then-
it's too good of a pick to pass up. We need somebody to throw to, so DK Metcalf is the pick. 46, Ole Miss.
All right, Michael, you're next with Carolina.
Okay, give me just a second.
Back to work.
Marty's he's in my ear right now telling me what he wants to do. I'm just waiting to see what he says. Oh boy, what are they needing help? Refresh my memory. Who did the Panthers get the first?
Oh, okay.
first round?
The Panthers
Greg
picked
Little.
at 16, offensive tackle Greg Little.
Oh yeah, that's right. Edge rusher or guard.
You got an edge rusher, LJ Collier at 34.
Yeah. I was looking at that's one I was looking
Zach
at
Allen
too, yeah.
at 43.
The Boston College kid, he go down there with Keegley, and they could be teammates. What's up? I like that one too.
Which one?
I don't think that's not. I don't think that's too high for him.
Which one?
I don't think that's too high for him. Zach Allen out of Boston College.
Zach Allen?
I don't think
Okay.
that's too high for him. Yeah, I think that's a good one. What do y'all think?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's different when it ain't your team.
All right, Miami Dolphins are on the clock, and we're looking at Robert.
Okay.
Miami Dolphins.
It looks like, make sure, let me check my sheet. All right, we're going to take a DB for the Dolphins. Probably one of the top rated but not better known DBs on the board, Julian Love, cornerback, Notre Dame.
That's a nice pick.
So Miami has not addressed their quarterback situation. Obviously holding out next year. This whole thought that they're going to tank this season to try to get one of those quarterbacks next year cracks me up.
Well, Rob just proved it. He just proved it could be right.
All right, this is the first pick for the Cleveland Browns. So let's go to who's next in line? Let's go to Vince.
Oh boy.
I know. I'm throwing you a fast one.
All right. Well, let's see. What does Cleveland need? They've.
I know exactly where I'd go.
Well, then tell me.
Wins.
I would go Taylor Rapp, Washington safety to replace Julius or what's his name Peppers that they traded to the Giants.
Jabril Peppers.
Jabril Peppers.
What a fantastic idea.
That's a great pick. Good job, Vince.
This is why you're wearing powder blue.
There you go. And we will be wearing it all season long this year.
And that's a wrap.
Oh, what a bad pun.
Okay. We got the Vikings up, Robert.
Robert.
Okay.
Oh, what a bad team.
I bet
I
you have
sat back.
you had a plan for this, right?
I did. I sat back and let the draft come to me.
Ooh.
So,
Ooh, I love that strategy.
probably one of the two top guards are still on the board, and one of the probably 4 or 5 guard tackles are still on the board. So to fix this offensive line of mine, to give Captain Kirk a little more time to throw the football, and to establish the run again, because we need Mr. Cook to do his thing if he can stay healthy. The Minnesota Vikings select Chris Lindstrom, offensive lineman,
Nice,
Boston
man.
College.
Nice
He's
pick.
nasty.
Great
He's
pick. Great
nasty.
pick.
Oh!
He's nasty.
Scott Novak got Dillard in the mock draft yesterday and was heads over heels about it.
Yep.
He couldn't have been happier.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
All right, Tennessee. There it is. Oh, that's me. All right, going to the Tennessee Titans. DT, edge, tight end, wide receiver, O-line. You know, they need an edge rusher, and we got a guy, I don't know a lot about him, but his name is LJ Collier. He's ranked 34 on Gill's list, and we're going to send him to Tennessee at 51, unless I change my mind here. Hold on. What did I do the first time? Devin White. No, that's absolutely. We'll send LJ Collier, linebacker, or edge rusher, I mean, to the Tennessee Titans.
It's a good pick.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
All right, we got Pittsburgh up next. Nobody did Oh, wait, somebody did Pittsburgh. Who was it? They picked Byron Murphy. We picked that as a group.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Right.
This is Allen. So let's do this as a group again for Pittsburgh.
I think he was looking for a safety.
Yeah, he wanted corner to start, which we did.
So what are you looking at for a safety now? Well,
You know where I might look
See
at
what
this
you got.
for the Steelers? I might be looking at Dramont Jones, defensive tackle.
what about Deion? What about? Well, okay. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Which one?
But they need help in the back end.
I was gonna say Deontay Thompson out of Alabama, but he's still on the board. But
Still on the board.
What do you think about Deontay Thompson, Tom?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't know much about him.
They got him projected
At the start of the
first or second
season, he
round.
was the 3/4 of the way through the season. He was the number one guy. He's from Alabama.
Right.
And he got burned in the college playoffs repeatedly, and he just got exposed.
Yeah, it's him or the Chauncey
How about-
Gardner-Johnson kid from Florida.
Well, we took a
Yeah,
corner in the first
yeah.
round for them. I don't know if we want to go back-to-back
okay, never
corners,
mind
do
that
we?
then.
Yeah,
Go
but
back
I
with
put
Tremont
Gardner
Jones.
Johnson as a safety.
I don't even have him on this. What's the guy's name again?
Chauncey Gardner Johnson from Florida.
Yeah, no, the
Deontay
other one.
Thompson.
DeAndre Thompson?
Oh. Yeah, Deontay Thompson, and he's telling you about Chauncey Gardner Johnson. That's what he's telling you about.
Yeah, Gardner Johnson on Gill's list is ranked 93.
Yeah,
Chauncey Gardner is 93. The other guy's
Yeah,
not
it's a
on.
little.
The other guy's not
That's a
on
little
Gill's
early,
top
a
100.
little early for him.
Because
Look, you
Gil
gotta-
told you it was early.
You got a guy at 53 that Gill
Go with
has on
Jones
his
then.
list.
You had a good one.
Yeah, I mean, who's on their defensive line right now?
Go with Tremont Jones. They have good.
I think it's either Juan Thornhill at safety or Dramont Jones at
They like Ohio
defensive
State
tackle.
kids there.
Any thoughts?
Tremont Jones. They do go with Ohio State players.
I'd rather fix the back end if I'm
So
Pittsburgh.
going with Thornhill?
If it's me, it just seems to be that
we need other people to weigh in here.
Yeah.
We're looking between Dramont Jones and Juan Thornhill. So, Vince, what do you think? A defensive tackle or a safety?
Fan, so I'm not.
I'm going to. I'm with Robert. I think you got to fix the back end. I think
Chris?
the safety.
Yeah, I'm more safety. Even I'm a Buckeyes fan. I'm more of a safety.
That's a majority.
Yeah, safety.
Yeah, go on.
All right. Now we're at the Philadelphia Eagles again.
Moi.
And the Eagles are...
Chris.
Yeah, so I too was thinking about a safety here, but I think an offensive lineman. So I'm going Titus Howard, Alabama State.
Bama State.
Wow.
He moved up the board a whole lot.
All right. Houston is Vince.
Yeah,
you're picking for the
has
Houston Texans.
Back-to-back picks.
Back to back.
Nice.
And I'm looking at tight end. I don't think I've heard his name. Irv Smith Jr.
Yeah, he has been taken.
He's gone.
Well then.
Just tested you
We're
guys.
we're not taking him again.
No, but you should keep trying because maybe someone will give him up.
I like it.
Hey, you still got a great guard / tackle on the board. And you need to protect that quarterback because he got sacked more than Kirk Cousins.
Who are you seeing, Robert?
Dalton Risner.
That's it.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Hey, who asked you?
Oh yeah. Put it down.
Tom, I'm sorry. You used my name in vain a lot tonight.
we obviously are on the same train of thought. So,
Okay.
all right. Who's your second one for Houston? Do they need a running back by any chance?
We already took a running back, first round. Took Josh Jacobs.
Oh, they still need wide receivers
Who'd
too.
y'all just now pick? I didn't get it.
Dalton Reisner.
Hey. Dalton Reisner, who they just picked? That's a good pick.
I'm looking at wideouts, guys.
Yeah, you still got Riley Ridley.
That was the guy I was looking at.
Was Calvin Ridley's cousin.
Let's do Ridley.
What?
That's a good pick too, I think, at this spot. All right, the New England Patriots. That was Robert.
Who did?
Whoever I want is who he's going to pick.
All right, we're going to go. He's somewhat of a project, but not quite. He's got all the measurables. So New England is going to take Charles Amenemy, defensive end, Texas. Did you get that?
I got it.
Okay.
Just looking for him.
Yeah, Amenahue.
Yeah, Amenemy.
I don't have him on Gil's list, so.
Ooh. Could be the next Chandler Jones if you kept
Oh,
him.
there he is.
And Chris, we're back at you with the Eagles, and then the Cowboys are up next. Anybody want to volunteer for them?
Is that really fair for any of us to pick for the Cowboys?
Let's get an AFC guy in there. Oh shit, I'm the only one. All right, I'll pick for the Cowboys. All right, so the Eagles are up.
You
And
got
Chris,
it.
You're on.
Yeah, so pick 57. I was leaning between corner and safety. This is a good spot for Chauncey, but I'm feeling like I'm leaning towards Lonnie Johnson, Kentucky,
All right.
cornerback.
I like him. All right. There it is. All right, Dallas. You know what? There seems to me to be an obvious pick here for the Dallas Cowboys because they love this kind of guy. We're going to go Chase Winovich, Michigan, to the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay, the Colts are up next. And that is Michael. Michael, that's your pick, and then I'm next with the Chargers.
Okay, I'm looking at it now. Refresh my memory. What did I do the first time with them? I didn't write it down.
With the Colts, you took Keneal Harry, wide receiver.
Okay.
And then DeAndre Baker.
Okay, so that meets those two needs. They need DT or edge rusher. Second round, they have him at.
Well, we've got to the same thing if you're towards the end. I can pick that if you like.
Kind of looking at. Tell you, what do y'all think about Gerald Willis out of Miami for them? Is that like a pretty good pick, or what do y'all think? Any?
Defensive tackle?
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question for y'all. Hey, did Ja'Kai Polite, he's already been drafted or not?
No, he's still available.
Still on the board.
Oh man, let's they're gonna snatch him up right now. That's who they're taking. He's not available no more. You get it?
Yep, got it.
I can't believe you fell that far.
Yeah, he's got baggage.
Yeah, but he dropped the second round, so it's it's little baggage at this point compared to what it would have been. I don't know. All right, who's up next?
Chargers are up. Wait a minute, let me record that last one.
Phillip Rivers replacement, maybe?
No.
No, who?
Could just be the replacement for Rivers?
Who?
I'm just messing with you.
The only person I would have taken as a replacement for Rivers in this draft is Haskins. There's nobody else at quarterback that I'm even interested in at all.
Daniel Jones would have been a good understudy for him. Put in there.
I think
he would have been a good one for you.
I am torn between two lovers here. I'm going to take Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, safety out of Florida, before Robert has the chance to grab him.
Robert's like, man.
We're sharing a brain here.
Although I hate hyphenated last names, I got to tell you.
Me too.
Yeah.
With a passion.
Like Rogers Cromartie, maybe?
Yeah. And then all these women, they get married and then they hyphenate their name. Hey, just make a choice. Keep the old one or take the new one. It's that simple.
Hey, now don't hate on Rogers Cromartie. That's my alum from Tennessee State.
Okay,
that's a
Jay.
hyphenated name.
Jay, you were up with the Chiefs. I'm up next with the Saints. Then we got the Chiefs again, and then the Patriots.
All right, let's see here. So the Chiefs we have with the already did a safety. Cornerback looking kind of slim. What about linebacker? I've been trying to keep track. Have they
Hey,
taken
Jay? What about Walker? Have we already picked him?
Walker?
You
You're
asking
good with
about,
Georgia
Jay?
players, DeAndre Walker. Hey, DeAndre Walker's still on the board, ain't he?
I think he is.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a good one for him, Jay. They do real good with Georgia players.
Yeah, they do need D-line
Plus,
help.
he's a need.
Yeah, why not? Walker? All right, so we're up to New Orleans now.
And this is New Orleans' first pick.
I can finish him, honey. It's almost over. It's only a couple minutes, I think.
They need a running back. They just lost. What's his name?
Ingram.
They need a backup.
Yeah, but they went and
I'd
took.
say, a sleeper. Hey, for a running back for them, a sleeper. That Henderson from Memphis, he's a beast, man. You want to look at a running back?
I would, if you're looking for a replacement for Mark Ingram, David Montgomery's the guy I would be.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at him or Miles Sanders out of Penn State.
Guys,
Well,
they already got one. They already got one.
Yeah.
They took Latavius Murray from me.
Oh, okay then. Never mind. I ain't a fan of them, so I didn't know.
I don't know that
But
that's the
Henderson
answer.
is good though.
Their
I
price.
don't know.
So I guess it's not a running back they're looking for then.
Well, in this draft, you can't go wrong with that defensive line. So I'm going to go Dramont Jones, defensive tackle to New Orleans.
And as Mike said earlier, Pittsburgh and all their Buckeyes, it's the Saints and all their Buckeyes.
All right. Chiefs are back up.
Yep. Give me just a second here.
Want me to help you out again, Jay?
No, I was gonna go with an offensive lineman, number 70 on Gill's list, Nate Davis, guard. A little undersized is his weakness, but they do like to have a little hurry up of an offense. So being slightly undersized might help them in the long term because he could be better conditioned. But I didn't catch the first name of the Jones guy that you just picked there.
Dremont, DRE'Mont.
So yeah, we're gonna go with Nate Davis.
All right, we got that. So our final pick in round 2 goes to the New England Patriots.
Okay, let's see.
And that is Robert. And you can take whoever you want here.
Okay, I appreciate it. Okay, I think I'm gonna. The highest rated
And they took
offensive
Marquise
lineman.
Brown, the first one.
Yeah, the highest rated offensive lineman that is still on the board that can play multiple positions And if you were down at the Senior Bowl, you saw him play.
I know where you're going.
So
I know where you're going with it too. Eric
the
McCoy.
New England Patriots are going to take Elton Jenkins, Mississippi State.
Yep.
Oh, not what I thought.
Not what I thought either. I figured you want McCoy. Okay, that was a good
I
pick.
thought he was going Michael Jordan.
You know the thing with Michael Jordan, he still needs some work. He still got to power up. This Jenkins kid, he can come in and play for you tomorrow, and he can play multiple spots.
All right,
you
so
took Jenkins.
Yeah.
So with the conclusion of the draft, let's go back and look and see who's still available. We have 2 running
Oh, you
backs.
don't want to do 3 rounds?
No, we're just doing 2.
We went by fast. We ought to do 3. It went by
I
real
know
fast.
it went by fast.
Take a vote. Take a vote. Who wants to do 3?
Now let's see who's left on the board.
What I Oh wait, I gotta go there.
Who's the biggest surprise still left on the board?
Well, I'll tell you, running backs. Again, this is according to Gill's list, but at 45 and 48, Miles Sanders out of Penn State, David Montgomery out of Iowa State did not go. Quarterback Will Grier, West Virginia, was not drafted.
He's a 3rd round guy.
Yeah, Ryan Finley also was not drafted.
Yeah.
Akeem Butler, Amani Hooker, Jojuan Williams, David Long, and Anthony Nelson. Now, the people, this just takes us to 64 on Gill's list. The folks that were rated over 64 that went was 65, Chase Winovich, 66, Greg Little, and he went in the 1st round.
Yeah, to me, he's overdrafted.
Yes,
That's
I agree.
just me.
Agreed.
73, Trayvon Mullen.
All right. Well, it wasn't my team, so I was fine.
No.
This is not an indictment. We're all laughing at you in unison.
Okay.
Trayvon Mullen, Lonnie Johnson, and Ja'Kai Polite all were rated 73, 74, 75. They were all drafted. 78, Mac Wilson was drafted in the 1st round. DeAndre Walker is number 84. He was drafted 2nd round. And Chauncey Gardner Johnson, 93, was drafted by the Chargers. So that's a very interesting round as well. Anybody have any comments?
I think the big one for me was Deontay Thompson wasn't drafted. And you didn't read his name on Gill's list, but
He's not on Gill's list, yeah.
that surprises me. Maybe old Gill slipped on that one.
I don't know, but he's been falling down boards for the last, 2 months.
Well, like I said, outside of the last 2 games of the season, the 2 playoff games, he was the top-rated safety all season long. So I have a hard time believing how he would drop that far. He didn't run slow. He didn't, so.
What's his name?
Deontay Thompson.
He's 144 on Gill's list.
Wow.
What?
Out of 150.
Hey, where's Michael Dieter at on Gill's list? The Wisconsin guard. Where's he at on Gill's list?
Michael Dieter? 141.
Wow.
I'm looking at another so-called draft guru, and this was in January. This is before all the of the combine stuff starts screwing with all of our minds. He had Deontay Thompson as the number 15 player. So I a lot of times go back to those mocks before the combine, and all the tape, everything we watched was saying this is a great player, and all of a sudden the guy runs 0.1 seconds slow, and all of a sudden we have this preconceived notion that he can't play football anymore. He runs.
That always cracks me up. How much better or worse guys get once they stop playing.
100%, or vice versa. How much better he looks because he ran a 4-3 when he plays at a 4-5, or like Byron Murphy, he plays faster, but he runs a 4-6, and all of a sudden they're going, "Ooh, is he fast enough?"
What school did this guy go to?
Alabama.
Oh, I know who you're talking about now.
Like a true free safety, or just center fielder. But
I spelled it wrong. That's why.
I mean, he's got all the measurables, but I don't know what's making him fall.
Well, I pulled up his file. It doesn't show any of the workout information for him. Down below at the bottom of the analysis is sources tell us, quote, "Go watch the Ole Miss game. There's a play where he runs up and has a big collision in the middle of the field but causes a fumble. I'm worried about him surviving those kind of hits and staying healthy. He's just so slender." End quote. An NFC executive. He has limited in man weaknesses has limited man coverage responsibilities. Recovery speed was disappointing in the playoff games, as mentioned before.
But again, that's like a horoscope, though. That's like me telling you should like the number 4, and you can find a reason the number 4 you should like. It's he doesn't play man to man, because he's a center field or safety, or like you can make this argument on every guy, right?
Strength. He has ball hawking tendencies and traits. Excellent job of keying the quarterback's eyes, and instincts enhance his play speed. So he's got the smarts and stuff. Maybe it's just he's not as big enough to play the safety position. He's also athletic in both pass coverage and in run support. So I mean, he's got plenty of benefits, like you're saying. It's just
is he not 6'2", 200 pounds?
I got his stats right here. He is 6'2", 196.
He's a little thin.
He's plenty big.
Yeah,
I'm just going with
there's an article. It's not coming up for whatever reason, but on 247 Sports, there's an article called "The Biggest Faller," and I listed to him.
Yeah, I have him. The analysis here on NFL.com has him as a second or third round projection.
So how many times has it happened to you? The phone rings and the number on the caller ID sort of looks familiar, and so you answer only to realize you've been had again. They're known as robocalls. Some of us.
The caption is, it just came across. Did Arizona Cardinals accidentally reveal plans for a number 1 pick?
It's accidentally revealed.
Mentioned previously, the Arizona Cardinals with that first overall pick doing their damnedest to keep it quiet as to what they plan to do, and for a variety of reasons. Whether it's something could happen to Kyler Murray between now and next Thursday, or maybe they get blown away by an offer to trade out of that spot, or maybe they just change their mind, or ultimately they want to keep it all secret to prop up the ultimate reality show about nothing that'll be on multiple networks next Thursday night. Steve Keim, the GM of the Cardinals, said something yesterday that made me even more convinced they are trying their damnedest to throw dirt on the tracks that lead back to Kyler Murray. He was asked whether it's unusual for an agent to accompany a player for a visit, because there was a report from NFL media that Eric Burkhart, who represents Kyler Murray, went with him to the visit to the Cardinals. Keim said, "I've never had one." Next question, that didn't happen last week with Kyler, and Keim said no. The reality is it did. Now, this may be a matter of technicality that the agent didn't actually go into the building when it was time for the visit. He was in town. And obviously, when you're in town for a visit with an overnight stay, you go out to dinner, you get together, the agent's available to talk to anyone from the team. And I think they're trying their damnedest to conceal the idea that the agent was there. And I think it's entirely possible they're talking to the agent about a contract, because, guys, if I'm going to draft this guy, I want him to sign right before I pick him a contract that says no baseball under any circumstances for the next 4 years. That way you eliminate the possibility you pick the guy and he has a change of heart either now or next year or the year after, and he says, "See you later, football, I'm going back to the Oakland A's." So I think there's reason why the agent was there, and I think the fact that Keim is trying to make it sound like he wasn't is just part of this effort to keep it all as quiet as possible and make us all not realize that this all is going to lead to Kyler Murray in 8 days.
Yeah, well, I think the first thing
that kind of makes sense,
Really?
but is that a deal breaker for them? What do you think?
I just don't know why a team would go through all this with Kyler Murray and just pit. If they weren't going to take him, the damage they're doing to Josh Rosen right now is it's just.
You know, I think this is a big test for Josh Rosen. This happened in San Diego to Drew Brees. And Drew Brees was his first 3 years, he was learning to play quarterback. Halfway through the third season, it clicked. And suddenly you saw Drew Brees. However, management did not see the same thing. And so they went out and drafted Phillip Rivers. Now, Brees played for another 2 years in San Diego. Rivers could not get on the field. Brees went to 2 Pro Bowls and an all-pro season, I believe, in that period of time. But what I read his book, and what he said was he was at home during the draft, and he saw the trade that happened. He saw that they picked, Eli Manning and made the trade for Phillip Rivers, and he went downstairs to his workout room and he got on the bike and he said, I was on it for the next 5 months. He went down and he just started working his ass off. And Phillip Rivers never got Drew Brees off the field. They had to kick him to the curb to make it happen. And if Rosen is smart, he's got all the tools to make this work for himself. His biggest problem, I think, is in his head. And if he straightens himself out and faces this competition head on, we'll see what happens.
But that was the thing that they always said about him, was that he's a little fragile that way, right?
I don't know. Fragile. He just has an overblown idea of who he is, and what he can do.
I never really got the feeling, from the local coverage that the Cardinals really, it was almost like they settled for him.
Well, they did. He was the last of the group.
Trade up.
Right. So, and he had a huge chip on his shoulder coming in. Like, okay, I should have been taken much higher, and I kind of wonder if his attitude, aside from the fact that the Cardinals are, have not been a very good team, but I kind of wonder if his attitude has gotten in the way of him really focusing on what he needs to do, but the team does not have a lot around him.
Can you imagine what the Rams would be like if they had been in this position after they drafted, what's his name? Who's the quarterback for the Rams?
Goff.
Goff. Yeah. So they draft Jared Goff. He has that horrible rookie season, and then they're in the same position to draft a quarterback the next time. And if they had made that mistake, they would have been in big trouble.
I think in that scenario, and maybe you can speak on this better being in Arizona, but if the same head coach was still there, I don't think we'd have this whole process going on.
Commercial, Cody.
You bring in a new head coach who has ties to him and is supposed to be this offensive guru, even though he couldn't win anything with Tech. So I just think where there's smoke, there's fire on this one. I don't agree with it. I think that unless you can flip for something solid, but just keep in mind last year, Arizona traded up to number 10 to take Rosen for a third and a fifth to move up 5 picks. So not only did they draft him last year, they traded up and lost a third and a fifth for him. So,
and that's still Steve Kine. So that's on his ledger.
Yeah.
As is most of the damage that's been done to this team. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I'm by no means a Cardinal fan, but you see it because of the local. I'm exposed to it just because of the local media. But this has been a team
I'm done with it. I'm just
that with the exception of a couple of years where they had Warner. And then they picked up Carson Palmer. And, of course, you bring in Bruce Arians, who's, incredibly talented. When Palmer decided to retire, you notice Arians left too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's over in Tampa, and most of the staff, he just took the staff away from Arizona. Yeah. So, this is really a team that's in complete flux. And, I don't know. I was never very thrilled with Rosen as a quarterback, and I think just the way that they did it, it was almost like, oh, well, we have to get somebody, and it's the same old Cardinals.
And
go ahead.
That's why I give Miami credit. If they didn't pull a trigger on somebody and said, hey, you know what, we're gonna run with Fitzpatrick for the year, and we know we're not gonna be great, so let's start building up around him. Let's start building the defense. That we have a new head coach, so we have some leeway here. And so I'd give Miami credit that if they go whoever it may be next year, whether it's from to Easton, whatever it might be, I give them credit. If they decide to play the long game on this one, kudos to them, because they're not over it unless they go and make a panic. And they, it's one thing if they trade up and they get a Haskins or something like that. But if they sit tight and don't draft a quarterback, and maybe they take a guy in the 3rd, 4th round just so they have some bodies, but kudos to them if they can do it.
Boy, I'll tell you, it's looking at it, it's a real dilemma. Inside that building, they may not feel that way. So if they're committed and they do take him, I kind of, as Vince said when we first started, that keeping them both, letting them battle it out, and then wait for somebody to go down and see if they can make a trade that way seems to be a really smart way to go.
I think it's the one way, but the thing that happened in the mock that where PK traded down and still got him at number 10.
Yeah.
The possibility certainly exists that they can get out of the number 1 spot, and they have so many needs on this team. It's almost like the Cardinals are going to become the new Browns, if you will. There's just so many holes. If they could do what what Pat did and get out of the top spot, keep moving down, they're going to get good players and a number of good players in this draft, people they can put on the field. If you think about it, that's the same thing that the Browns ended up doing, where they got a lot of picks and they put players that they could use on the field right away. And that's kind of, like I said, that's one of the problems that the Cardinals have. So if I would love to have gotten out of that pick, because while I don't particularly like Rosen, I don't have any reason to believe that he can't play the position either.
Right.
So, how often do you have the opportunity to barter with the number 1 pick overall? I mean, you can get some serious, serious compensation for that.
It's too bad for them that it's not a stronger quarterback class this year, because you look back to where the Rams and the Redskins made that RG3 trade, and they gave up 2 number 1s and a 2 to make that trade, which I think is one of the worst trades in NFL history, because nobody got anything out of it. The Redskins did nothing and the Rams did nothing during the course of that whole transaction. But you're looking at multiple firsts if there's somebody there that is worthy of that spot. If there was a Baker Mayfield, people would be trading up for that. But there's just not. So where do you think Rosen falls in? If he was coming out this year, where would he fall in this draft?
I don't know that he's top 10
of the
quarterbacks. Just of the quarterbacks, Vince.
Well, of just the quarterbacks, he's probably he's probably the second of the third quarterback that's going to be taken. Because this isn't really, like we've said, this isn't a really strong quarterback draft. But I think that, if he was here this year, he'd probably be behind. I'd put him behind Murray. But this is a little bit off subject, but this kid out of West Virginia, I think people are. Yeah, I think people are overlooking him. I think he's better than a lot of the other players that are rated above him. You know, it's not just what your measurables are. It's not just what your stats are. You know, this kid plays the game. You know, he's tough. And go ahead.
The same could be said for Gardner Minshew out of Washington State. He's another guy that all he does is perform. I mean, he set Pac-12 records in passing and at the Senior Bowl. His practices were okay, but the game itself was awful. And then a lot of people are talking about this kid out of Northwestern, Clayton Thorson. And they speak really highly of him as well. So I bet there's a lot more quarterbacks go in rounds 3 through 6 than will go in the first 2.
Right.
I think also that, like you mentioned, Will Grier. I think one thing about Will Grier that's holding him back is when's the last good West Virginia quarterback been drafted? I can't name one.
I know the answer to that.
Don't say Geno Smith.
No, we finally dumped him off our roster. Oh, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking Virginia.
Mark Bulger.
There you go. That's who I was thinking of.
But that same thing happens with Washington State and that air raid offense. It's just it doesn't generally produce NFL talent, right? It hasn't, and the NFL is trending that way, away from no huddle, one read offenses and throwing the ball. So
right. Well, here's the answer to your question. Ranked 1 to 10, you have Pat White. Okay.
Yeah,
Will Grier is second on that list. Will Grier is second on this list. Then you have the incomparable Major Harris. Then Geno Smith, Mark Bulger, Jeff Hostetler, Oliver Luck, Rasheed Marshall, and Chad Johnston, and that's it. Of any names that I recognize. So the answer to your question is Will Grier is the last great quarterback to come out of Virginia. Or West Virginia.
Yeah, if you want him, give him.
All right. Anybody else got anything?
No, I'm good.
I thought this went really well. It's a really interesting draft. I'm looking forward to comparing it to reality and seeing where we are.
It's a lot of fun.
And this format I kind of like this. It keeps everybody way more involved. Next year, if we can get people to actually commit, 6, 7, 8 guys, whatever it is, to actually commit, then we can assign the teams ahead of time and everyone can take a look at what they, are really looking for.
Yeah.
Just to familiarize themselves with that.
Yeah, I was disappointed with the response that there were more guys, because in years past the problem was this is a fantastic setup. The problem was in years past we couldn't fit more than 6 guys.
Yeah.
And then everybody complained about it. So you guys found a solution, and then guys didn't sign up.
Yeah, and I think we need to thank Jay for that. He did a great job today engineering this whole thing. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome, guys. You're welcome.
And now all we get to do is sit back and shiver and sweat until the actual draft comes on Thursday, the high holy days of the NFL. I've cleared my schedule. I have my setup all ready to go. My wife knows not to talk to me. It's
don't you already have your table set up in Nashville?
Hey, I just got a text. Michael had to leave. He said goodbye to everybody. Thanks. And Robert's phone ran out, but he just sent a text and he said, this is Robert. I'll be in Nashville for the draft. It's home for me. Got VIP passes. College classmate is senior VP of communications for the NFL. At which point I immediately wrote him back and said, I will be hitting you up next year. Then the draft is in Vegas.
Wow.
Which is the only reason I've never gone. It's like the last thing on my bucket list. And I just never wanted to stand in line outside of Radio City. And
we went to Chicago.
And yeah, it looked like great fun. I just don't want to be out in the crowds. I'm kind of, call me elitist. That's fine. I'll accept that.
I'll be honest, it was not. I have been a draft kind of junkie my whole life, being a Lions fan, always having a sucky team. So when we're prepping for draft, 6 weeks into the season, but we went to Chicago the first year. We stayed at a hotel that was literally like across the street from where they had everything set up. That was very cool, but the draft is a watch on TV event. It is. Yeah. We ended up, for the rest of it, we ended up sitting in our hotel room, watching it, eating deep dish, and regretting it after kind of idea. But
yeah,
it was a cool experience, but I wouldn't go again. So happy to check it off. And good, especially with like Nashville, I don't know how you can plan, because from my understanding, they're doing it all over the place. So if you're not going to have it all set up in one spot where you can go and, if I'm going to plan for a trip, I can buy tickets on StubHub or whatever and know where I'm sitting. I couldn't buy tickets for the draft. I had to show up and try and get tickets.
Right.
And it cost me a fortune because I had to, go about it the illegal way. So, yeah. My buddy who I went with, he's been to 3 of them. He went to 2 in New York and the one in Chicago. And he's not a draft guy at all. And he just happened to be in the right spot at the right time kind of idea. And again, same thing. They went for day 3 in New York one year. And he's like, all it was a bunch of drunk fans. So.
All right, are we ready to wrap up the stream part of this?
It looks like it.
One quick question. Actually, maybe 2 questions, really quick. Number 1 is: are you guys going to post the results of this on the Facebook page?
I will. I think I have to check. Michael said he was doing that as we went along, but I'll just double check.
Okay.
He's a lovely guy.
And the other thing was, I don't know that they would do anything with it, but you might want to send it to Eddie and see if you can get the guys to talk about it.
Oh yeah, they talk about it. They love it.
Yep. And,
they'll be laughing at some of these picks.
And I'll shoot you the link to the actual video once it's done rendering on YouTube side there, Tom, and we can send it to Eddie and them, and they can at least watch it on their own and see how see what they think of the format. Maybe next year, at the very least, they can help generate some people to watch and comment on it while we're playing it. Because I'm going to be avoiding the satellite radio because I don't want Cincy Mike to be. I don't want to hear Cincy Mike chew my head off.
Okay, guys, I gotta go. It's been a blast. Happy Easter to everybody.
All right.
Yep.
Take care, and then everyone have a great weekend.
Take care, guys.